there. Got a lawnmower occasionally coming on in the background here, but I think it's probably louder to me than it is to you, so I thought I'd make this video anyway, because I just came across something that I've been sort of looking to see with these robots. I'm trying to figure out if DoorDash has implemented them in that area. I can't find anything that says they have so far, but I'm sort of intrigued because Idaho was one of the two first states, I think the other one was Virginia, to pass the law that robots can travel on sidewalks. And somebody in one of the articles I read said that it seemed unusual for Idaho, but one thing that I think Idaho does seem to be very keen on, well, I don't know if it's all of Idaho, but they seem to like to keep an eye on people. And I wonder if that's been more of the motivation than delivering food, although obviously they are delivering food and it must be lucrative. That's another thing I would imagine that's a big motivation. But so I wanted to find out a bit more about privacy with these robots, because they've got cameras, they've got 6 cameras I think on them, so who can access these cameras, I was wondering, and if this plays any part in any of this, in terms of there could be somebody on the other end who's looking at the other person on the other end might be looking at students, but I don't know about that one. Or it could provide footage to law enforcement. I was wondering if they might have access to it, so let's read this and it'll tell us a bit more. So it's only a couple of paragraphs. Images and videos captured by Starship robots. This is the privacy section that I looked at on Starship. I want to call it Starship Enterprises. It's not Starship Enterprises, is it? Starship Technologies, that's it. Okay. In order to drive autonomously and avoid obstacles, Starship robots use various sensors, including cameras. Some of these cameras capture video data from the robot's delivery journey on sidewalks. This data comes in 2 basic forms. 1, a live streaming video feed, and 2, a recording of video footage onto the robot's hard drive. The live streaming video feed, obfuscated as described below, is occasionally accessed by remote assistants to navigate the robot in the event the robot encounters an unexpected situation. So if you had any bad actors working within this field, they will be able to access the remote assistant when they wanted to. So it does seem to me that it's the kind of role that might attract the wrong person, possibly. The recording is used for software testing and improvements for incident analysis and to continuously enhance the safety of the robot's operation. So they can somebody on the other end can access it when they want, when they deem necessary. And do they have to justify every time that they do access it, or could they just access it whenever they want to and just say that there was a reason that they needed to access it? I don't know. Starship is sensitive to the importance of privacy. The object of the technology within the robot is to enable obstacle detection and navigation. Starship does not need or wish to proactively identify individuals, but read on. The last paragraph's interesting. For this reason, we've implemented features aimed at minimizing any incidental recording of identifiable people, including low-resolution quality recordings, fixed cameras showing only knee level and below, and various obfuscation techniques. But those could be turned into high resolution recordings, couldn't they? I mean, it won't surprise you, I'm not very technologically minded, but I'm sure some people would know how to get around that. I don't know. Most images collected by the robots are deleted after 60 days. If you hadn't gone into this, the other part that I was reading before this made it sound like that they're not kept, that we don't keep them, but didn't say they keep them for 60 days, 2 months. It's quite a long time. We may retain a tiny minority of data collected for a longer period to allow for further analysis. Starship's robots don't capture or record any conversations or audio data. And this is the interesting bit. In certain situations involving the prevention or detection of a crime, we may share limited data collected from our robots with law enforcement officials, subject to applicable law and Starship policy. So it wouldn't surprise me if law enforcement became very interested in having these sort of robots have a dual purpose, especially as there's, with all school shootings and things like that, there's quite an emphasis on surveillance. Be interesting to know if they did use any of these robots to capture any goings-ons on the night of the 12th going into the 13th of November last year, and whether there are other robots that, because the ones that we've seen on the campus are supposedly just for the campus, right? And you might have seen on my on another video of mine that the campus boundary ends on Taylor Avenue just before King Road, and would it literally just end there, or would they go any further? Given that there's some off-campus housing there and a considerable number of potential customers, and or would there be do any other businesses use delivery robots? And as I said, if a delivery robot had gone to King Road, I know they've said they have mentioned a driver, so maybe it's inconceivable that they would have said that if it was a robot. But it would, if somebody, we don't know who actually ordered the DoorDash, do we? It's never actually been said that Zana ordered a DoorDash at this, it's never, they only believe she ordered a DoorDash, don't they? Did they actually, I can't remember how it was worded, but it didn't sound like they'd actually confirmed who ordered it, because somebody else could order it to get them to open the door, knowing that it's not going to be a person and it's only going to capture their legs, maybe. That could be how they know it's Vans style trainers. Might not even be from this latent footprint. But also, if these things are roaming around, and I'm not even sure, and other people aren't even sure, that the murders were committed within King Road, then, because for me there would be a motivation, as I've said before, to move the bodies off of campus, especially if anything happened in a fraternity or sorority building, because that would be very bad for the organisation that runs fraternities and sororities, and that's big business. And it'd just be bad for Idaho University if people are not safe on campus. This is off campus. It's not as damning towards them. It's damage limitation, but and I am wondering as well, and I'm going to do another video about it, about there having actually been 2 murders, so 2 separate events where either 2 murders or an event and then later a murder, because at 2:35 we have Richie Skiles, who's the sheriff of Latah County, asking for help from Whitman County to locate a subject. That was at 2:35 a.m. There are 8 hours missing from the Whitman County logs. At 2:54 or 2:56, that Banfield body cam begins. On the Moscow logs, it says the incident was reported at 3:01. I think that what that means is that the officers who were there reported the incident themselves, so they completed the incident report, and we watched them doing it. And as the clock is saying 2:56, 2:54, something like that at the beginning, I think it's when they put the incident in. So you can tell that they just came across these kids. It wasn't a call to, nobody called them out to this incident. They were there, and they seem pretty. I'm going to play it in another video, but it's interesting watching it again with the benefit of hindsight, because you take in more things than you did the first time round when you weren't, didn't know as much. And when you hear how the little bit of desperation in their voices to stop those three boys walking any further, and then instantly saw that other lad, took an opportunity to, cause thinking that he was with the other ones, took an opportunity to stop him, because I think he thought it would then stop the other three, but apparently they weren't together. But the other guy goes, and the other police officer goes and stops them. They are not going to let these kids go any further, and you can hear it in the officer's voice when he first tries to call them, and then there's a slight panic in his voice that they're going to keep walking. He doesn't want them to go any further. So what I think is that something's happened then, but what I'm wondering is if that's not everything that happened. There was maybe an attack, but not, or something happened. I don't know if it would have been as much as a murder, because I find it hard to believe that people wouldn't know about it and emergency services wouldn't be there, and there wouldn't be a big thing going on that we'd know about, people would be aware of. But I feel like something happened. But it could be that two of the victims were killed. I don't know how many of the victims, let's say two of the victims were maybe attacked or killed then, and then they think they're looking for somebody, a suspect, and then there's another attack later, maybe at the King Road house. This is what I'm wondering about, because that would be something. They seem to be trying to cover up something. We can tell there's something not quite right, and it's most likely that they've done something that they don't want, that would make them look really, really bad. And something that would make them look really, really bad is if there was an incident and it wasn't properly dealt with and there wasn't any shelter put in place, they just kept it quiet, and then hours later there's more murders, or all of the murders. So it could have been an attack or something, and then later there's these murders, or murders, a couple of murders then. And saying that sounds like I'm saying that quite casually, but I'm just trying to explain. And then again later at the maybe those ones at the residence, and then they make it look like it all happened at the residence. I don't know. I can think of a lot of scenarios. I know other people can, but there seems to have been something that happened just between 2:30, before 2:30, between 2 and 3, basically, between 2 and 2:30, in fact, when Richie Skiles, the sheriff, contacts Whitman County. Bubbly Waters, who I've mentioned before, another content creator, noticed the name on the entry that I'm referring to, where the sheriff contacts Whitman County, Latah County Sheriff, and the name of the officer is C. Olin, who reported it. And Bubbly Waters mentioned about a certain person called Jason Christopher, I think, Olin, and you'll know who he is. Let me get a picture of him. I don't want to stop that. This guy. Why does that look so blurred? That's him as well. And I need to find the report on him so that you'll know about this guy. If you look on Bubbly Waters' YouTube channel, you will see. Oh, what am I doing? Oh, where am I going? You will see that she's created a video about him, but I'll create one as well. But he is called, Jason Christopher Olin. The guy who made that entry, I presume, is C. Olin, because in the right hand corner of each entry is an officer's name, and it's got to be the officer who was involved, surely. And I'm just wondering if maybe she thought that this incident was something to do with that guy, but that's actually the officer's name. But maybe it was something to do with that guy, and the officers got the same name, and maybe they're related. I don't know. I'm just speculating. I'm trying to find that information out at the moment. But he's called Chris Olin, the officer. I think he's a deputy, but I will show you, because I have found some information on him, but I'm just going from memory here. I think he's a deputy for Whitman County Sheriff's Department. So, some other videos coming up to further explain and show you some of the things I've been talking about on this video. So a lot of this is just food for thought.